Yeah. So actually, I wanted to get started. Like, you caught my attention actually quite some time ago. I think you
Mhm.
did something with Wizard. Like, it was like some like TikTok
Yeah.
or it was on Instagram, I think. And
Hmm.
it came on my page, and then I went through a bunch of your stuff, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh wait, this guy's music's pretty good. So I wanted to get to know you and stuff. So
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you like, what helps inspire like the sound that you're making like right now?
Honestly, right now, it would be like a mix of like what I used to do as well as like currently what I'm consuming.
Hmm.
Because like right now, like obviously like the underground scene's always evolving and changing. And I think there's like a certain sound that's really um really dominant right now. And obviously like it is like a lot of people it's almost like a trend. um but I never want to like box myself in terms of like a genre. But I would say like inspiration wise, like honestly my friends, stuff I hear on Instagram, and also like I would say like the old hyperpop scene, like Glaive, Eric Dewey, like old Kuru, like definitely like melodic hyperpop.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I feel you. Like hyperpop had a huge what's it called? Like it had like a huge blow up. I would say like maybe 2020,
Yeah,
2021, like Eric Doa, Jane Remover, like all those guys,
yeah.
you know. And like they had like a huge what was it, like an influence on like a lot of the music scene, you know? Like I feel like it was such a shift away
Definitely.
from like I feel like before them was like everything was so like rap heavy, and then after
Hmm.
like a lot of it kind of switched to like more of that EDM style. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Definitely. I think it's just a great mix of like rap and like just more electronic sounds. Like because like hyperpop doesn't need to be like strictly EDM, right? Like there's a lot of like trap elements, but like with the combination of like, like digital like sounds, I don't know, I think it's just a great blend.
Oh
And
no,
that's like really
100%.
what my music is.
Yeah, no, having like a good digital mix with like EDM and
Yeah.
stuff is like so completely different from like for example rap or something. Like it's been
Yeah.
a lot more electric in terms of like sound,
Hmm.
you know, like you can see like for example things like Serum being used a lot more than like Omnisphere.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like that's just kind of stuff like if we're going really technical. Um are there like more certain artists, like producers or sounds that have been like kind of influencing you, like in terms of like going through that like hyperpop direction?
Um, Definitely like um, in terms of artists right now, I think definitely Slayer is definitely one of them.
Slayer,
Um,
yeah.
so what Slayer's doing is insane in terms of like really pushing the underground sound. Um, Also like a lot of like what Glaive's been putting out recently. It's like a mix of like hyper pop and like indie. It's like super unique that I haven't really heard before. And I think that's like really the direction I want my music to hopefully end up going, in more of like a not necessarily pop, but definitely more melodic. Um, Definitely more melodic for sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, no, like Glaive had a huge run like during that whole
Yeah.
2020 2021. He's still pretty relevant. I feel like everybody in hyperpop still is pretty relevant.
Hmm.
You know, like
Hmm. Yeah.
especially like right now. I'm pretty sure Jane Remover like performed at Coachella like what like a few days ago. You know,
Yeah,
like
that's crazy.
it's nuts like how mainstream it's honestly gotten. You know, like
Hmm.
the entire scene basically just gone like so big, and it's in the public eye now. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So, like, do you feel like your sounds evolved as like since you started like really producing on the back end, or is there like different things that you've done?
Oh, definitely. In back in like 2023, 2020, I would say a little bit of 2024. I used to just be a type beat producer, like just have a YouTube, and just post type beats every single day. And when I first started, honestly, I didn't really have like a unique sound. I just did whatever was like I guess whatever my mood was. Like sometimes I did like plug and B. So I had a whole like new jazz phase as well, if you know what new jazz is.
Yeah, like
Um
Summers and stuff.
yeah, yeah, Summer's Lunchbox, like that scene. Um and then I would say like early, not early, maybe like mid 2025, late 2025, that's when I really honed in my sound in terms and just got consistent in what I was making. Um, Not necessarily making a genre, but including elements that I like from other beats, other songs, and then just including them into my own sound. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. I feel like a lot of producers were also kind of that same boat. Like me being one of them. It's like I started as like a type beat producer, you know,
Oh yeah.
like and like a lot of these producers that I've talked to in the past, a lot of them started off making like just regular trap, you know, and they would just post it
Mhm.
on YouTube and see like if anything really ends up taking off or not, you know, like it's just like it's like interesting to see like the whole like evolution of like okay, started off making like trap beats, like going on like Reddit and getting those like lunch 77 kits, and then like
Yeah.
trying to figure out like what to do with them, and then now like you're, well, at least for me personally, like now I just sign it's like sound design almost a lot of my stuff, or like whatever, you know, you find drum kits or serum
Yeah.
kits or whatever kits. Like it's just really interesting to see that evolution as a producer. And I see it in a lot of other people. You know what I mean? That's why it's like super
Mm.
relatable whenever I hear that.
Yeah, bro, 100%.
So when you're producing for like a rapper, what is like the first thing you pay attention to in terms of their rapping?
I'm not going to lie. There's not much I look out for. Obviously, like whatever like lane the artist is in, like in terms of like their style, like the genre that they mostly do. Um, Other than that, nothing else. I will say like a lot of like my biggest songs with like artists I've collaborated with, they've been like a collaborative effort, meaning like we would bounce off ideas back and forth regarding like where we want the beat to go, what instruments we want, maybe if we want to take a sound out, and like through that collaborative process, I think I get what I want in terms of like like hopping on like the artist hopping on the beat, but also like the artist actually genuinely enjoying the beat. I think that's like the only like a rapper hopping on a type beat like on YouTube, you'll never like be able to like fully get like a custom sound, like in terms of like the arrangement, maybe if you don't like a specific sound, because obviously it's YouTube, right? And unless you reach out to that producer, you're never gonna get that. And I think if you just work with like artists, if you work with like your friends, that like collaborative aspect really shines through, especially when you know the song is made.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think collaboration is like arguably one of the most important things in music, especially if you're either a rapper or if you're like a back end producer. Like when you talk to like rappers and stuff, a lot of them will like rip type beats off of YouTube. But at the end of the day, yeah, like you said, like if you want really like that unique sound, like you have to hit up producers. Kind of have to pay for exclusive beats, you know,
Yeah,
like if you really want like a unique sound, like or else you're just gonna sound like every other rapper and you're just not gonna stand out, you know.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's also just more fun that way too.
100%.
It's like you get to like be in the process of like making the song.
And like it's a lot more like interpersonal, you know, like you're like working on the song
Yeah,
together. Like there's like a big thing of like trying to make sure everything works and flows smoothly, you know, like that's just kind of how it is.
yeah, exactly.
So so has working with like a specific artist or like any certain artist like kind of changed the way that you like kind of approach like making beats?
Yes. Shout out Charlie, if you know who Charlie is. He is one of the closer artists that I work with pretty often. And I think the craziest thing about him is that he not only is he super versatile, but also he hops on more loops than beats, at least for me. Um, because honestly, like as a producer, I make a lot more loops than I make beats, which is honestly a bad habit of mine. I should be like putting drums on everything, ideally, but like I have so many more loops than beats, right? And I just send him those loops and then he creates like a, you know, almost like a full song on it. And then from there I just drum in. It's just like I can work around his vocals to make it hit even harder. And I just haven't really seen that with any other artists I've worked with so far.
Loki, that's valid because it's like with loops, you can chop it, you can like do a lot of more things with a loop than you can do with like just like a full beat. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And like when you get a loop and then the vocals, like you can make the drum pop like really really hard. Like I feel
exactly.
like
Yeah.
with a kick for example, like if you get a kick or something and you get it to like compress over the loop or over their vocals, it always sounds more crisp. Like the when you put the drums last. That's my personal bad habit. Is I do my drums a lot of the time first for some reason. That's because that's like, oh, I want to make a
Oh, I
genre,
see.
But it's
Got it.
like when you
Do
get
you
vocals like
do you
immediately.
start with like the I'm sorry,
No,
go
you're
ahead.
good. I'm just saying if you get vocals like immediately, like it's just easier to mix. 100%.
Nah, 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 I did it first. I was gonna say, so like when you make a beat, do you like lay out the drums first then? Like if you're doing like EDM, do you do like a four on the floor and then like if you're doing trap, two step hi-hat?
Actually, recently I've been trying to do drums last, just because like I've noticed in my
Oh, okay.
production, my sounds just better. Like my stuff just sounds way better
Mm-hmm.
whenever I do drums last. So I don't know, like it's just because it's like a trap thing to do, it's to lay drums first, and it's been like a bad habit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I had to like kind of curb that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. So um,
No, definitely.
actually, that's like the perfect segue into my next question. Is that so when you start like a beat, do you normally start with like the drums, the melody, or do you have like a certain vibe that you're trying to go for? Like, what's your starting process?
Um, when I'm first starting a beat, I would say at least like for the last year, I've been starting a lot like beats with samples, and not like samples like YouTube, like samples meaning like my own loops, um, and starters, because I think that through that it's not only faster to make loops or beats or whatever, right? Um, there's just so much more you can do with the sample rather than just like straight MIDI. Like adding effects, adding automation, things like that. Um, and like a lot of like my loops are honestly just like loops from before, just like free flip like crazy. And then usually I also add like MIDI on top of that, just for taste or like if I think that the melody needs more like a bass, um, like a pad, ARP, stuff like that. Like I'll um to that original. I'm not to the flip loop. And yeah, that's honestly what I've been doing for like the past year, like in terms of starting a beat.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, like I think using samples is like so crucial to like making music. I think whenever you use like a sample, it's like you're well you're showing homage, right? Like you're like, okay, like I love this type of music, I really want to create something like that, but you're gonna spin it in your own way. That's the idea. And like whenever I hear a sample, especially if it's like a unique sample that I haven't heard before or I haven't heard it being sampled, I'm a lot more drawn to the song. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like I love
Definitely,
hearing
yeah.
samples. So has that process kind of like changed over time, or have you always kind of done like just samples and stuff?
Not really. I mean, before that, I would say definitely just like the Nick Mira method, lay down chords, add a top line, bass line, and then like build out from there. Um, but I enjoyed the sample, like the loops process a lot more. It's just it's more abstract. Like I'm not really like I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like whatever happens, happens, and it's just a lot more fun for me.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I think like again like laying down chords and then laying down all of that stuff like really really
Yeah.
really helps accentuate like those samples and those sounds and stuff. So I wanted to also ask How do you know when a beat is like actually fully finished before you send it out?
Oh, so definitely like the standard that I have is like obviously like hook, verse one, verse two, and then an intro or outro. Um, but honestly, it depends because like a lot of beats, they might just drop right away with like the drums, but also like some other beats that I make, they're more like like a slow build up to like the drop. But it honestly depends. I would say like it's finished when I think each section of the beat sounds unique and it can allow for like an artist to hop on.
Yeah, I think uniqueness is so important. You know, like because like again, like if an artist like right now, if I was an artist, like a rapper or something, and I'm going through beats and like I'm gonna pick the one that sound like that stands out. You know, because I want to stand out, especially in this kind of scene that's like so like competitive and
Yeah.
cutthroat. You know, like you want a sound that's gonna help distinguish you as a rapper from all these other like rappers that are trying to like I guess make it out. You know what I mean? Like I think that's super important.
Definitely.
So what DAW do you use?
I use FL Studio.
Have you always used FL or was that like your Stardot DAO?
Um, I oh actually a while ago when I was first starting, I think I used do you know the do you know the DOS Studio One by any chance? It's like a really Studio One 5, I think. I think that's what it's called. I was just I think they have a free version, and I downloaded that because I didn't have money to buy FL. So I started out on that, but obviously, like seeing everyone else produce on FL, like made me eventually get it.
Yeah, FL is I think FL at this point is an industry standard. Even though I glaze Ableton like nobody's business, I think FL is like one of those like everyone kind of uses it. You know, like out of all of the interviews that I've had, I think like literally 80% of the
Yeah.
people have used FL. You know, so it's just like so nuts to and
Mhm.
it's such like a staple in the music community. Whereas I feel like Ableton has like I feel like a higher what's it called like paywall, you know, compared to FL because FL you buy it once, right?
Yeah.
But like Ableton you have to buy
Yeah,
like
exactly.
every update. So that's why I feel like a
Oh
lot of
wow.
people use FL more than Ableton.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about it like that. That is kind of crazy that you have to pay for every update.
I know, like I'm gonna reserve my comments, but as much as I love Ableton, that's like the one thing that I dislike.
Mm.
So, what are your like top three plugins right now that you use, like your VSTs?
Um, I think like it's no doubt definitely Serum. Serum 2 has been insane in terms of like sound designing, really getting the specific sound that I want. And also people just make really fire Serum 2 banks. Like the banks that I have, they're like every single one is unique. Like they're so cool. Um, Second one I would say probably probably Autochroma. Autochroma is like an effect plugin, which basically it granulizes whatever sample you feed it or whatever like sound you feed it through. And then you can mess around with like the different parameters. You can modulate the LFO and like obviously like the volume, the filter. It's definitely there's a learning curve to it, but once you're able to do it, it's very like it you can make some really cool sounds with it. And then the last one, probably Synology. I think Xenology is just a really great go-to plugin for just any sound, any genre.
Yeah, Xenology's goaded. So
Yeah.
dude, Serum is freaking nuts. Oops. Yeah, Serum is freaking nuts. I don't know what it is about that plugin, but like, dude, there's some people that I'll sit in a call with them, and like they'll cook up like the most crazy sounding anything. Like I'll literally like explain like, yo, can you make it this, and they're like, all right, bet. Like like not even 5 minutes later, they're like, yo, check out this sound. It's like the weirdest thing. I'm like, dude, Serum. Like if you know how to sound design, I think Serum is like literally a blank canvas of its own, like completely of its own. You know what I mean?
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah,
That's
and
just nuts.
it's nuts. Like the stuff that I'll see people do, it's just crazy on Serum. And then
Yeah.
autochroma. Yeah, chroma's really good. Like the stuff that I'll hear people use it, and it's like pretty like that granulization process is really really. Speaking of
Yeah,
granulizer, this
definitely.
is this because this might be kind of niche, but I always get like these ads on Instagram of virtual riots like new EST. I think it's called Bismuth.
Yes, Bismuth, yeah.
Is it good? Have you heard? Have you used it, or do you know anyone?
I mean, I've definitely gotten the ads as well. They're spamming the ads on that like crazy.
They are.
Um, I haven't really used it. I did watch a video recently discussing, or it's like breaking down the differences between chroma and bismuth. I think the main thing, like if I recall correctly, was that um bismuth essentially accentuates certain frequencies, and then from there you can also like add effects. So it's more like an effect plugin rather than just like what Chroma does, which is also the same thing, but with just like it doesn't really have any built-in effects with it. So like the bismuth presets, like from what I've heard, like they're insane. I can get some really cool sounds from
Yeah, I need to meet someone that's used it. I need to actually I gotta
it.
figure out because like I always get those ads and like when I get like two ads in a row, I'm like okay, I'm like okay, I need to see what this is all about.
Yeah.
So okay, what is like the most important part of like making like a beat that you've made feel personal to your sound?
I think the biggest thing is like ear candy for me. Um, like obviously when you're producing a beat, right, you can definitely it's very easy to overproduce. Um, but you always just need to keep in mind that the artist was, or if you obviously you don't need to um produce a beat for the sole purpose of having an artist hop on it. But when I'm producing like little just like effects here and there, like certain things that only I would know, or if you listen really closely you would hear, like those are the things that make a beat feel more personal to me, because like at the end of the day, like I did that, the small details, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think attention to detail as a producer has to be like one of the most important things like you need to have. You know, because it's like that's how you really get your
Definitely.
sound. Like that's how I see it. You know, like it's just a lot easier to kind of like create like a unique sound by having like these really small details like shine through your mix.
Yeah, I think it's honestly, if you build your, especially like for melodies, um it's a lot easier to make unique sounding stuff when you have like, let's say like you have like a lead, right? You split the first lead, or the first half of the lead, in one sound, and then the second half of the lead with another sound, and you can like mix and match. And like a, let's just say like a normal producer, right? They would just do like one sound for the entire lead. But like if you like incorporate different sounds, like effects, automation, like things like that, I feel like separate like a like an average producer with like a really good one.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I think automations are the most underutilized thing in production, you know, and I think it's really what
Definitely,
makes the sound so much more unique. You know, especially if you're making EDM. You know, like I think automation
yeah.
is so important, especially if you know how to do it well. You know, like really having
Yeah,
your sound get manipulated over time. So it's just like really like that's what really accentuates like a good producer from a great one. Like at least
definitely,
for
yeah.
me. So okay, what is your favorite and your least favorite part of like the production process?
Um, Honestly, I think right now it's really drums for me. Um, I just have more making more fun with I just have more fun with making melodies, just 'cause like again, like I said before, like I have really no idea where I'm gonna go. But when I start to make drums, I think I tend to get a little boxed in with what I make. Like it's so easy to just throw in a two-step hi-hat or like, just a regular trap clap. But like I've been trying to like just experiment with one unique sounds, second also unique patterns, and also just like doing like just like crazy stuff in terms of like the sounds, foxes, adding really cool perks, things like that. But at least favorite process, definitely the drums. Unless I'm getting a loop. Because in that case I like to do it. But like once you've made a loop and you spent like let's say like 20, 30 minutes on it, it's like I don't want to spend another like 20 doing drums, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm the opposite actually. I'm the opposite. I don't like that much making like I mean I like making melodies, don't get me wrong, but I just love
Yeah.
making drums. I don't know what it is. It's just so fun to me. Cuz it's like
Yeah.
when you make like an ambient melody, it's like okay, it's good. But then you throw drums on it, you're like, "Oh, you know, like that now it's just starting to
Oh
hit."
yeah, yeah.
You know, like for me it's like okay, like the drums is like it's kind of like that last slap. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I love it so much. I don't know what it. And then I have one final question, and it's
God,
what is one thing that you've learned about production that changes the way that you make music now?
that's a good question. Honestly, I don't, I can't really think of something specific from the top of my head. Um, I think the biggest thing would probably be um experimenting. Like you should always go in either making a melody or a beat with the mindset that you're gonna make something different than what you've made in the past. Um, like the biggest thing for me is like I never want one loop, one beat to ever sound the same. Or even if they're like in the same genre, right? I definitely want it to sound different, definitely want it to sound unique so people know it's my sound. So like the biggest thing is like just experimenting with different sounds and um doing things that you normally wouldn't do or like that's like outside of the box.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that's super important. You know, like pushing your own limits is the only thing that will actually like get you further in production. You know, like learning how to use like literally this morning I was trying to figure out how to use Serum because I just got it like 2 days ago. So it's like I've been like just trying to figure out things like different styles of how to use it. And then like whenever I see other people who already know how to use it, for example, they'll try and push it in other ways by adding different types of effects, different types of whatever. And like it's just like you're either hungry or you're not, you know? Like you either want to
Yeah.
like learn and you want to like actually make your sound better or you don't, you know? And like that's how I see it, you know?
Yeah, definitely, bro. Experimenting is gonna get you like a lot farther than people think.
For sure, because then you learn more and then you also create more unique sounds, for sure.
Yeah.
So if there's like any piece of advice that you'd give like an artist or a producer, like what would that be?
Um, I honestly can't say for too much for like as an artist, but from like a producer, maybe like my biggest advice would be my biggest advice would be finish your stuff. Like if you have a melody, if you have a beat, even if it's ass, just finish it. Because a lot like if you really think about it, if you never export whatever you're making, you just wasted however much time making that loop for no reason. And it's like obviously I understand that like there's some producers, there's some artists that are just doing this for fun. Like it's just a hobby for them. But like especially if you're trying to send out stuff to people, if you just wasted like an hour making a melody, and yeah, granted it might be like a little ass, but you should still export it, get the MIDI out of it, get like a starter from it, at least something. That way you can always reuse it later, reflip it, and you just didn't waste time.
No, I agree. I think finishing your projects in general really shows like it's also rewarding in a way even if it's like not that good like you're at least you finished it, you know, it's like something you can show people, you know, and there's always going to be
Yeah.
someone who might like it, you know, even if you don't personally like
Exactly,
it,
yeah.
you know, that's just how I see it. But
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people get into this idea where like, oh, it's or it's bad, that so like I'm not just not gonna finish it, or it's like whatever, scrap this. Um, the best thing that you can do is just get something out of it. Like I export like from one FL like one complete FLP that I make, like a project file. I usually get at least three things, which is a loop, starter, and a MIDI. That way I can always like reuse it for later, put it in my kits. And it's just like, it's just easier to be more efficient that way.
Oh no, 100%. Like that's totally something that should be done. I totally agree with you. But
Definitely.
yeah, I think that's all I have in terms of questions. So
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm glad you
Thank you
found the
so
time
much for
to
having
chat,
me
dude.
again.
Yeah, of course, bro. I
Yeah, bro,
keep it up.
definitely. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate it.